In a quiet village nestled between the mountains and a great river lived a young boy named Aaron. Unlike the others in his village, Aaron was not strong, not fast, and not particularly clever by traditional standards. He struggled in school, was picked last for games, and often found himself daydreaming instead of working in the fields like the other children. But Aaron had one thing that no one could take from him, an unshakable belief that he was meant for something greater. Every evening he would climb the tallest hill near the village and sit beneath the old sycamore tree. From there, he could see the river winding like a silver ribbon and the mountains standing like ancient guardians. He would close his eyes and whisper to the wind, "One day, I'll do something that matters. One day, I'll make a difference." People laughed at him. His own father would shake his head and say, "Dreams are for the idle. Work is what builds a life." But Aaron couldn't let go of the feeling inside him, the spark, the fire, the quiet voice that told him he had power yet to be discovered. One summer, the river that fed the village began to dry up. The crops wilted. The animals grew thin. The people panicked. Leaders from the village held meetings, sent scouts, and prayed for rain, but nothing changed. Day by day, hope began to fade. One evening, Aaron stood again under the sycamore tree, watching the dying river. Something deep within him stirred. What if I followed the river upstream? What if I found what's blocking it? It was a wild idea. Foolish, many would say. But to Aaron, it was the first time he felt the power of his belief call him to action. At dawn, he packed a small satchel with bread, a flask of water, and a worn map. Without saying a word, he left the village and followed the river's path into the unknown. For days, Aaron climbed rocky trails, crossed dense forests, and fought through swamps. He was hungry, tired, and at times terrified. He encountered wild animals, was caught in storms, and once nearly fell from a crumbling cliff. Each time he wanted to give up, he remembered the dry fields, the worried faces of the villagers, and that voice inside him, "You have power. Keep going." On the seventh day, Aaron came upon a great landslide. Rocks had tumbled down from the mountain and blocked the river's path. Water pooled behind the rocks, forming a stagnant lake. The river was trapped. Aaron stood in silence, overwhelmed by the sheer size of the blockage. He was just a boy. How could he move mountains? But he didn't turn back. Aaron began pulling stones away, one at a time. He worked from dawn to dusk, hands blistered and body sore. On the third day of clearing, he heard a trickle of water escape. By the fifth day, a stream. On the seventh day, the rocks gave way, and the river surged forward, roaring down the mountainside, like it had been waiting to breathe again. Aaron stood soaking wet, laughing and crying all at once. He had done it. He unleashed the river's power, and in doing so, he had unleashed his own. When Aaron returned to the village, the river flowed, strong and clear. The fields drank eagerly. The animals stirred with new life. The people rejoiced, but more than that, they were stunned. "You did this?" asked the village elder, staring at the boy with disbelief. "I just followed the river," Aaron said, quietly. "And I didn't stop." The people didn't laugh at Aaron anymore. They didn't see him as weak or strange. They saw him as someone who dared to believe, dared to act, and proved that greatness isn't born. It's forged through courage, effort, and an unrelenting belief in your purpose. Years later, Aaron became a great teacher, not of books or farming, but of belief. People came from faraway lands to hear his story. He would always end his talks the same way. "The world will try to convince you that you are powerless, that your voice is too small, that your dreams are too big. But I tell you this, within you is a river. It may be blocked by fear, doubt, or pain, but it is there. And when you find the courage to move the stones, one by one, you will unleash something no one can ever stop. Unleash your power. The world is waiting." We all face moments where we feel small, unseen, or incapable. But our power isn't measured by how the world sees us. It's measured by what we choose to do when no one else believes in us. True strength lies in persistence, in purpose, and in the decision to act when others won't. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait to be ready. Just start, small, scared, uncertain if you must. But start, because your river is waiting.